We are tracking Tropical Storm Milton in the western Gulf of Mexico, soon to be Hurricane Milton and impacting Florida. We are also talking about the long-range outlook across North America. This includes Canada, the United States, and Mexico as we go through the next several days. We're going to be breaking it all down for you right here on this channel. Welcome back, everyone, on this Sunday, October 6th, 2024, and hope everybody's having a great weekend out there so far. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to subscribe. We are only 284 people away from 101,000, so I appreciate all the supporters, all the new subscribers, all the old subscribers here on the channel. Make sure to also like the video, give it a thumbs up down below. It helps out more than you know. Also, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Of course, we'll get to those after the video is over. Right now, let's look at the GOES satellite imagery, and what you see here is a stronger low pressure system up into Ontario, Canada, with a cold front attached to that. You're probably experiencing some pretty breezy conditions up across the Great Lakes region here on this Sunday. Very dry conditions across the central U.S., sun-splashed skies, above normal temperatures for the early portion of October. And then, of course, down here into the western Gulf of Mexico, we do have Tropical Storm Milton. That is pressing eastward, and that will strengthen to a hurricane and make landfall in Florida later this week. Let's talk about that. So here is the tropical weather update at the front of the video, and we have a very active Atlantic right now. We have a couple of fish storms out here. What I mean by that is it's not going to be impacting any sort of landmass here anytime soon. We have Hurricane Kirk up here in the North Atlantic. We have Hurricane Leslie down here in the main development region, and then another low probability of another fish storm developing off the coast of Africa. That will turn out to sea as well. Turn your attention over here into the western Gulf of Mexico. Tropical Storm Milton has formed and is continuing to develop here. A closer analysis of this storm is we have some very strong convection around the low pressure center with this, and is likely going to strengthen with warmer, Gulf of Mexico waters. We have low shear in this environment, so that is a recipe for this system to quickly intensify over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. Here's the latest cone from the National Hurricane Center, is strengthening that to a hurricane as soon as this afternoon or this evening. A major hurricane that would be Category 3 or higher across portions just to the north of the Yucatan and into the eastern Gulf, all the way up to landfall there on Wednesday, remaining as a hurricane even after it moves through Florida there on Thursday. And then a post-tropical cyclone as we go into Friday and Saturday next weekend. So let's look at those sea surface temperatures, and yeah, they are supportive of this system strengthening to a hurricane and then a major hurricane. That would be, again, Category 3 or greater in intensity. Now, Helene actually did do some upwelling of the water, some of the cooler waters mixing up toward the surface of the ocean, but there's still so much warm water down here into the Bay of Campeche, into the eastern Gulf, that it's still supportive of another strong hurricane. Here is the latest intensity guidance for Hurricane Milton when it does become a hurricane. Most of the guidance likely having this as a Category 3 at landfall, some even peaking it up there, and probably outliers. But even some of those up to Category 4, even borderline Category 5 strength, will definitely keep a very close eye on that. Here's the latest model track guidance from the hurricane here and the consensus on where this will go. A lot of this is around the Tampa Bay area, Fort Myers, all the way south toward Naples. That's where we likely will have landfall with Milton as we go into the middle and end of the week. So let's track this here this afternoon, 998 millibars. This is a tropical storm, very compact system. Very small system. And sometimes when you have very compact, small hurricanes, they could be a little bit more ferocious and develop a lot quicker as well. Going into Monday, you can see it kind of drifts a little bit closer there toward the Yucatan, just off the coast of the Yucatan, as a 989 millibar system. Tomorrow, that will be a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane. As we go into Tuesday, major hurricane status, Category 3 at 977 millibars. That actually might be ending up a little bit stronger than that. And then as we go into Wednesday, We could be seeing a Cat 2, Cat 3 type of hurricane making landfall anywhere from Tampa Bay down toward Fort Myers and Naples, Florida by the middle of the week. Storm surge, onshore flow is going to be a big problem potentially for the Tampa Bay region down to Fort Myers, Naples, and all the way south even to the Florida Keys there as we go into Wednesday. And then as we go into Thursday, they'll cross across the Florida Peninsula into the western Atlantic, just north of the Bahamas. 991 millibars there on Thursday, still bringing some problems, rough surf and rip currents there to the Bahamas, and then finally a post-tropical cyclone under 1,000 millibars by Friday and even Saturday towards next weekend. This is going to bring a lot of inland flooding, folks, so not only the significant storm surge and some of the stronger winds with this system, we definitely could be seeing some very widespread flash flooding, and some of that could be very significant as well, where we could be easily talking most of the peninsula of Florida seeing anywhere from 3 to 6 inches worth of rain, and a lot of those numbers are likely to be conservative. Some of these areas could see up to 20 inches of rain as we go between now and next Saturday on October 12th. So widespread flash flooding is a concern here, especially around the Tampa Bay area, Orlando, and just near the Jacksonville region, and also down here toward Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. Those are areas that have a moderate risk for flash flooding going through next weekend. Looking here at North America, zooming out the picture here and showing you what we got going. We have a very strong trough in the Gulf of Alaska or the Northeast Pacific right now, a blocking ridge of high pressure across the western U.S. I know we just can't get rid of the heat out west. And then we have a trough. This is the trough that brought all the breezy conditions and continues to bring the breezy conditions across the Great Lakes here on this Sunday, and cooler weather as well. Notice up around the Great Lakes, we're seeing a lot cooler temperatures today compared to yesterday even 24 hours ago. Very warm temperatures out there in California, where temperatures are approaching 40 degrees above the norm for early October standards. So here are your highs this afternoon. Notice it's much cooler up near the Great Lakes. Areas that were in the 70s, 80s yesterday, even mid-80s near Chicago are down into the upper 60s. 68 there in the Chicago lakefront, 62 into Milwaukee, and a cool 56 in Green Bay this afternoon. Comparatively, it's 106 in Phoenix this afternoon, 97 in Las Vegas, and 103 in the San Diego area. So make sure to stay hydrated down there as it is very hot. Temperatures are going to convert over to precipitation here. So, you know, we have warm temperatures, and that's really because we don't have a lot of precipitation either. So dry ground heats up faster. You allow those temperatures to really warm up across the desert Southwest. Where it's a little bit cooler, we do have some cloud cover, some precipitation up here into Ontario, Quebec, Canada, and around the Lake Erie region, Lake Huron. We definitely have some of that. More precipitation from Florida, tropical moisture down there, and then another low pressure trough here with several low pressure systems up around Alaska and Western Canada into the British Columbia area, Yukon, and the Northwest Territories as we go through today. Going into the work week here, Monday, October 7th through Friday, October 11th, that blocking ridge of high pressure will only flex its muscles a little bit further to the east. You can see the lowering of the pressures underneath. That is a prime candidate for a hurricane in Florida synoptically, and that's what we just talked about. But this ridge of high pressure is going to provide us with more of the same. We're going to see above normal temperatures for early October standards across the central and western U.S. Cooler air, at least leaning slightly below average here across the east, and then across western Canada up into western Alaska as well. Here are your temperatures, kind of a sneak preview of what you could expect through the week. Monday afternoon, you can see on October 7th, more 50s, 60s for highs across southeastern Canada and the northeast U.S. Comparatively, we are in the 80s, 90s down near the Gulf Coast, and more triple-digit heat from Phoenix back there towards San Diego as we go into Monday. As we go into Wednesday, finally, look at that. We are not even to the triple digits in Phoenix. We're down to 95. Hey, that's a silver lining. It's a little bit cooler by Wednesday. And then as we go into Friday afternoon to end the week, still not seeing triple digits, but still 95 in Phoenix. But look at the 80s here across the Great Plains from Nebraska into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Yeah, that's unseasonably warm for mid-October standards as we are approaching mid-October there on Friday, October 11th. So that is actually pretty warm for that time of year. Looking at the jet stream, it's way far north or it's way far south here. So we are kind of in between. We really have a lot of dry weather across the middle of the country, but especially out east. The real wet weather will be tied to the tropics there in Florida, or that jet stream lifting way up into Canada here, where that could be impacting areas like Yukon, the Northwest Territories, down here into British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan as we go through next week. You can see precipitation amounts largely up in Canada will be light, the heaviest of which we just talked about for Florida. Some areas, again, could be seeing up to 20 inches of rainfall and barely a drop of rain, if anything, across most of the United States as we go through next week. Snowfall prospects, well, it's not cold enough for snow, so that will stay up there in towards the Arctic Circle and Western Canada, especially in those higher elevations of Western British Columbia there on the Western Canadian coastline. We could be seeing up to 50, 60 inches worth of snow as we go through that 5-day period next week. Longer range outlook past that, well, if you're hoping for cool weather, I apologize, because it looks like we're going to have that ridge of high pressure extending even into the 3rd week of October. So if you're looking for any cool blast from Canada, well, you're probably going to have to look past October 3rd because we're not seeing it there. Dry weather will persist across most of the United States going all the way through Saturday, October 19th. It's shaping up to be a very dry month out there. And when you have a dry month in a lot of dry days, drought is going to be a concern. It already is a concern across the United States. It's going to only expand and intensify over the next couple of weeks. As you can see, the Great Plains are the prime candidate for that drought expanding and intensifying as we go into the second half of October. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. We do short range forecasts, long range forecasts, monthly and seasonal outlooks, live streams here. Make sure you turn on all post notifications for videos and live streams on my channel. Give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy today's weather forecast. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Of course, we'll get to those after the video. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their weekend out there.